Have you ever laid in bed at night, replaying a conversation from 3 years ago, analyzing every word you said, every pause, every facial expression, wondering if you said the wrong thing, or if someone misunderstood you, or if they're still thinking about it too? If so, you know what it's like to live inside a mind that never stops. Overthinking isn't just thinking a lot. It's when your thoughts become a loop that you can't escape from. It's when a simple decision, like what to text back, turns into a 30-minute internal debate. It's when you're physically present, but mentally, you're somewhere else entirely, caught in a web of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. And here's the thing. People who overthink are often told to just relax or stop worrying so much, as if it's that simple, as if they haven't already tried 1,000 times to quiet their mind. But overthinking isn't a choice. It's not laziness or weakness or being dramatic. It's a psychological pattern rooted in how your brain learned to survive. And today, we're going to explore why some people overthink everything, what's happening in the brain, what causes it, and most importantly, why your overthinking mind isn't something to fix. It's something to understand. Let's start with what overthinking actually looks like. It's not just worrying, it's rumination, replaying past events over and over, searching for what you could have done differently. It's anticipatory anxiety, imagining every possible future scenario and preparing for the worst. It's analysis paralysis, when you think so much about a decision that you can't make one at all. And it's exhausting, because while everyone else seems to move through life, making choices, having conversations, without a second thought, you're in your head, questioning everything. Did I say that right? What did they mean by that? What if I made the wrong choice? What if something goes wrong? And the cruel part is, you know it's not helping. You know that thinking about it more won't change the past or control the future. But you can't stop, because for an overthinker, the mind feels safer than the unknown. So what's actually happening in the brain? Neuroscientists have found that people who overthink often have heightened activity in an area called the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain responsible for planning, decision-making, and problem-solving. In most people, this area activates when needed and then quiets down. But in overthinkers, it stays active, even when there's nothing to solve. It's like having a smoke alarm that keeps going off, even when there's no fire. There's also something called the default mode network. This is a network of brain regions that becomes active when you're not focused on the outside world, when you're daydreaming, reflecting, or yes, overthinking. Research published in Nature Neuroscience found that people prone to anxiety and rumination have an overactive default mode network. Their brain literally doesn't know how to rest. And here's the kicker. Overthinking often comes from the amygdala, the brain's fear center. Being overly sensitive. When your amygdala perceives a threat, real or imagined, it sends signals to your body. Your heart races, your thoughts speed up, and suddenly, you're stuck in a loop, trying to think your way out of danger. But when the danger is just a thought, there's nothing to escape from. So you think, and think, and think. Now, why do some people develop this pattern and others don't? The answer often lies in childhood. Children who grew up in unpredictable environments learned early on that they needed to stay alert. If your home felt unstable, if emotions were unpredictable, if you couldn't trust that things would be okay, your brain adapted by becoming hypervigilant. You learned to read between the lines, to anticipate problems, to analyze every situation before it happened. Because in your world, being caught off guard felt dangerous. Psychologists call this hypervigilance. And while it helped you survive childhood, it doesn't just turn off when you grow up. It becomes a habit, a pattern, a way of being. Studies show that adults who experienced emotional neglect or inconsistency as children are significantly more likely to struggle with rumination and anxiety. Not because they're weak, but because their brain was wired to expect uncertainty. There's another layer to this. Many overthinkers are also perfectionists. And perfectionism isn't about wanting to do well. It's about feeling like you have to be perfect, to be safe, to be loved, to be enough. When you believe that mistakes are unacceptable, your brain goes into overdrive, trying to avoid them. You replay conversations to make sure you didn't say anything wrong. You overanalyze decisions to avoid making the wrong choice. You imagine every possible outcome so you can control what happens next. But here's the painful truth. Overthinking gives the illusion of control. It makes you feel like if you just think about it enough, you can prevent bad things from happening. But in reality, overthinking doesn't give you control. It takes it away. Because while you're stuck in your head, analyzing, worrying, second-guessing, life is happening without you. Let's talk about what this does to you emotionally. Overthinking is exhausting. It drains your mental energy, leaving you feeling tired, even when you haven't done anything physically demanding. It creates anxiety because your mind is constantly focused on problems, whether they're real or not. It leads to indecision because every choice feels heavy, like it could be the wrong one. And it creates distance in relationships because when you're overthinking, you're not present. You're in your head, replaying what someone said, analyzing their tone, wondering what they really meant. Meanwhile, the person in front of you doesn't even know that you're somewhere else entirely. Research from the Journal of Abnormal Psychology found that chronic overthinkers report lower life satisfaction, higher levels of depression, and difficulty maintaining close relationships, not because they don't care, but because their mind won't let them rest long enough to connect. But here's something most people don't talk about. Overthinking isn't just a flaw. It's also a sign of a deeply thoughtful mind. People who overthink are often incredibly empathetic. They notice details others miss. They think about how their words might affect someone. They consider multiple perspectives before forming an opinion. The same brain that traps you in loops of worry is also the brain that makes you compassionate, insightful, and deeply aware. Studies show that people who ruminate often score higher on measures of creativity and problem solving because their mind doesn't accept surface-level answers. It digs deeper, asks more questions, explores every angle. The problem isn't that you think deeply. The problem is that your mind doesn't know when to stop. Now, if you've ever been told to just stop overthinking, you know how frustrating that is. Because if you could stop, you would have already. Overthinking isn't a conscious choice. It's a nervous system response. It's your brain trying to protect you in the only way it knows how. And you can't just turn that off with willpower. But here's what you can do. You can start to recognize the pattern. You can notice when your mind is spiraling, and instead of fighting it, you can pause. You can ask yourself, is this thought helping me right now? Am I solving a real problem? Or am I just replaying the same loop? And sometimes the answer is just noticing is enough, because awareness creates space. And in that space, you can choose to redirect your attention, not by forcing your thoughts to stop, but by gently bringing yourself back to the present moment. Here's something important. Overthinking isn't just mental, it's physical. When your mind is racing, your nervous system is activated. Your body is in a state of low-level stress constantly. And when your body is stressed, your mind looks for threats. It's a cycle. So one of the most powerful things you can do is calm your nervous system. Deep breathing slows your heart rate and signals to your brain that you're safe. Movement, like walking or stretching, helps release the tension that builds up in your body. Grounding techniques, like noticing 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch. These aren't just distractions, they're ways of telling your nervous system, we're okay. We don't need to be on high alert. And over time, when your body feels safer, your mind begins to quiet. Let's try a different perspective. What if overthinking isn't your enemy? What if it's just a part of you that's trying to keep you safe? A part of you that learned that being prepared meant being protected. When you stop seeing overthinking as something wrong with you and start seeing it as a pattern your brain developed for a reason, something shifts. You stop fighting yourself. You stop thinking, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just be normal? And you start thinking, my brain is doing what it thinks it needs to do, and I can work with it, not against it. This is called self-compassion, and research shows that people who practice self-compassion experience less rumination, less anxiety, and greater emotional resilience. Because when you stop judging yourself for overthinking, you create space to heal. If you're someone who overthinks everything, I want you to know that you're not broken. You're not too much. You're not doing it wrong. Your mind is just trying to protect you in the only way it knows how. And while overthinking can feel like a prison, it's also proof of how deeply you care, how thoughtful you are, how much you want to get things right. The goal isn't to stop thinking. It's to create space between your thoughts and your sense of self. To realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the person experiencing them. And with time, with practice, with patience, you can learn to quiet the noise, not by force, but by compassion. If this resonated with you, leave a comment below. Let me know what overthinking looks like for you. And if you found this helpful, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Because sometimes the most healing thing is knowing you're not alone. Thank you for being here. And remember, your mind may be loud, but you are still worthy of peace.